The following featured presentation is part of the SKYwalking Network.
This is what you can look forward to on episode 408 of Skywalking Through Neverland. Drink the ooze. Drink the ooze. We are tasked with giving our review, right? And so we have to say...
An honest
review. Yes.
Why is Pete Venkman in this movie?
Yeah.
Now, here goes the big question of the day. You ready for this? Is Bob Iger afraid that DC might pull ahead of the MCU films and shows?
The biggest mystery about the film? How does Paul Rudd not ever age?
Public opinion will switch on a tweet.
On a tweet, yes.
Disney's pulling back on everything. Films, TV shows, and conventions.
Drink the ooze. Drink the ooze.
Are you ready?
Off to Neverland.
Here we go.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome. Disneyland is your land.
When I first made Star Wars, everybody in Hollywood said, well, this is a movie Disney should have made.
You're more than just fans. You're family.
Best day ever!
Secrets loud.
It's about family, and that's what's so powerful about it.
Hey.
When you use a bird to write with, it's called tweeting.
When we visit the world of Disney, we never grow old. It's a Peter Pan, Never Land that keeps us young in heart.
This is Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi, and you are skywalking through Neverland. I have a good feeling about this.
Hey, Skywalkers! If you are trapped in the quantum realm, don't go near that floating head with the large face, but do drink the ooze if you want to make sense of all this. And while you're doing that, we want to welcome you once again to
Skywalking Through Neverland.
I am Richard Woloski, but now everyone please say hello to my sweetie wife Sarah, who was working that Disneyland.com site today like a fiend.
Ooh, that's right. Yeah. Got to get our Disneyland After Dark night tickets.
Yeah.
And we did it.
Yeah, you had like 4 or 5 computers going.
Well, you're not supposed to. I had 2 computers.
Oh, everyone
two
does
browsers. Yes, they do. They do.
Some browsers take longer than other browsers.
Oh yeah, your browser when you're in the queue is given like this random queue number. So it really helps if you have multiple browsers open and multiple friends with multiple browsers open, and you just pick the not the slowest one, the fastest one. And Richard, your computer is like always on it. I don't know what it is, but you always get like the lowest number. And so like right away you got like 45 minutes remaining rather than an hour or more in the queue.
Ever see the video Killed the Radio Star?
Yes.
And you get the keyboards with like he's surrounded by keyboard and he's got like all of his hands moving. That's like you with all the computers going.
It's true.
So now we have After Dark tickets for Star Wars night and Throwback Night.
Yes, so Star Wars Night, we're going to be there on the first night, May the 2nd, along with the Turkells. And then also on Throwback Night, which is going to be really fun. This is the first time Disneyland has done this. Throwback Night is a special, these are all special ticketed events, but this is one that basically you're going to be transported back in time to Disneyland in the 50s and 60s.
That is going to be so much fun.
Yeah.
So guess what I'm going to wear?
What?
My Monkeys shirt.
Oh, that'd be perfect.
You wear your Monkeys shirt too.
Maybe.
Or, yeah.
But that's a good idea.
Okay, we got the 2 Monkeys shirts, the
I
red
know.
and the blue. So
yes, but Monkeys isn't a Disneyland. We'll talk.
Okay, we'll talk later.
We'll
discuss.
All
right.
But I
going
like
off
that
on
idea.
On a tangent.
I like that idea.
Another tangent. Martin Killer is saying that he bets that my computer has been the rebel spy. Yes, my computer has been the rebel spy 56 times. All right, so more on the Disney After Dark events coming up on future shows.
Yes. Now, Richard, you always call me out. I'm going to call you out and say, I want to welcome everyone, and this is my co-host, Richard Woloski, who is the best ever at writing our podcast show notes.
Oh, well, thank you.
I just wanted to say that because I love your opening.
I always love it when I hear you in the other room giggling at my openings.
I do. Yay. All right. Well, Skywalkers, we are your enthusiastic podcast destination for the many decades of your Star Wars, Disney, and Marvel fandom. So it's time for your weekly Wookiee hug and your little sprinkle of pixie dust for our family of Skywalkers. Now, coming up on this episode, we will break down and review the latest MCU film, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. We have lots of thoughts, especially on the new characters and actors. We will also read your comments left on our Facebook page. And if you have any comments right now in the Sky Chat, please let us know. Let us know. And just so you know, there will be spoilers.
Also in this episode, we catch up with Spencer Jawitz from the Virtual Cantina as he tells us all about the next Boonta Eve bash that will be happening right before Star Wars Celebration London in just a few weeks. Asterisk, it's really called Celebration Europe. But Celebration London makes it sound more specific to London.
Okay.
And while I was talking to Spencer, the FOMO really kicked in. Now, unfortunately, Sarah was not part of this discussion because she was on the phone with Amazon getting our next book underway.
That's true.
Now, this just in, StarWars.com just reported today that the next celebration won't happen until 2025.
Well, that makes sense, right? It's 2023, right?
Yes.
I keep on forgetting what year it is. I don't even know. All right. So, yes, it's every other year. So that makes sense. Okay.
Well, because Celebration Anaheim happened last year.
Right.
And Europe is happening this year. They're saying, okay, no more until 2025.
Yeah, but they're trying to leapfrog between D23 expos.
Yeah. It's better when it's every couple of years.
I agree. There's more to do, more to see.
Yeah.
And it's more like a family reunion that way because you've waited a little longer in between. Unless you're coming to D23 Expo, in which case we will be there.
Disney's pulling back on everything. Films, TV shows, and conventions.
Yes.
All right. Now, we are being sponsored by Small World Vacations, and they are a diamond-level Disney vacation planner travel agency and can help you book your trip to a Disney park around the world or on the Galactic Star Cruiser. And best of all, this service is free of charge. So head over there to smallworldvacations.com for a no-obligation price quote and tell them Skywalking Through Neverland sent you, or you can whisper what, Sarah?
Skynet.
Yes, please do that. Now, we are recording this from Long Beach, California on February the 21st, 2023.
So, Richard, what happened today in Star Wars history?
Lots and lots and lots happening, but let's kick it off by wishing a happy 77th birthday to Mr. Anthony Daniels.
Woohoo! Wow.
We all know Anthony Daniels as the actor who played and brought to life C-3PO, but he also played two unmasked characters in the Star Wars films. Sarah, what are they?
They are Daniel Fay-Tony in Attack of the Clones.
That's one.
And Tak in Solo: A Star Wars Story.
There you go. So I'm very happy that they included him in Solo because R2 and 3PO weren't in Solo. So let's get Anthony Daniels in there somehow.
That makes sense.
Now, if you haven't read Anthony Daniels' 2019 memoir, I Am C-3PO, The Inside Story, you must. He discusses filming the saga and his favorite and least favorite parts of playing C-3PO.
It's fascinating.
Yeah. The only thing he didn't mention was the help he gave us with Today in Star Wars History.
Darn the luck.
Yeah. that was my way of saying that Anthony Daniels helped us with Today in Star Wars History. Every once in a while, I would reach out and say, hey, can you confirm this, that you played 3PO in this clip or in this show? And he'd write back, yep, that was me. Also on this date, but in 1997, 26 years ago, The Empire Strikes Back Special Edition premiered.
Yay!
And it premiered at the #1 spot at the box office. But guess what? Guess what knocked it off the #1 spot?
Return of the Jedi.
Special edition.
Yes.
Well, you are very, very true. And this is also the day that Albin Johnson, he created the 501st because he showed up at a Empire Strikes Back showing in this new Stormtrooper armor.
Whoa.
He did this in South Carolina. So if you were there and have pictures, please let us know. So you have 2 big things happening on that day. But wait a minute, 2 or 3 things? Did 3 big events happen on this day in 1997?
What happened? What's the third thing?
Well, guess what? Also on this date, Star Wars Weekends debuted at the Disney MGM Studios in Orlando, and it continued for 5 consecutive weekends.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is, but get this. Disney didn't continue it in 1998 or 1999.
Not even 99?
Exactly. Why?
What?
Even in 98, when Star Wars fever was at an all-time high, why? I don't know. But they picked it up again in 2000 and 2001. But get this, they didn't hold it in 2002, the year of Attack of the Clones. Who's not doing their job over there?
I don't know. Then what happened?
But it came back in 2003 and continued on until 2015.
And now it's no longer happening. And it's very sad.
Yeah, they should really just call off the whole Galaxy's Edge timeline continuity for one weekend.
Yes.
Just say, okay, we're going to have Star Wars Weekends and Galaxy's Edge. And once again, like I always ask, who's going to complain about this?
No one.
Not a single person.
No.
Now, attending this very first Star Wars Weekends in 1997 was Warwick Davis, Anthony Daniels on his birthday, Kenny Baker, David Prowse, Peter Mayhew, and Jeremy Bulloch. Oh.
Now, this is fun because, we went to Star Wars Weekends in 2014, and it was all about the voice actors from the Clone Wars and Rebels, because that's what, Lucasfilm and Disney was promoting at that point.
Well, it was all about the Star Wars original trilogy because of the special editions.
Which makes sense. Well, now let's get into our breakdown and review of the latest MCU film, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Scott Lang, you're an Avenger. But down here, you're out of your league.
Kang can shatter timelines.
Everything you call a life will end.
And you're not getting out. I don't have to win. We both just have to lose.
Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, rated PG-13, February 17th. Get tickets now.
What does Quantumania mean? That's just one of those... I thought the whole quantum realm was called Quantumania.
Oh, I know you kept on saying that in our review.
But it's just a more, if they called it Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantum Realm, that wouldn't have done anything. But calling it Quantumania, it's like, oh, Quantumania, that means it's manic. It's all over the place. Let's go to this. It was very, very clever titling, but yet got me really confused.
So Peyton Reed, the director, and of the previous Ant-Man films, he's a little out of the box, right? Remember watching the first Ant-Man film, which didn't really feel like any other MCU film at that point. So I think that's just his personality coming out in the title. It's kind of like how we title our shows sometimes,
Right. It's just a little misleading, but that's okay.
Well, it means you're going to be in the quantum realm. There you go. And there's going to be some manic mania things that happen.
All right, so Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, the 31st film in the MCU, but the first film of Phase 5 was just released on February 17th. And although it's getting mixed reviews, it has grossed a very impressive $360 million worldwide, and that's of today, February 21st.
And there's just so much to this film, with a new major bad guy, Star Wars allusions, and a floating head thing. So we're going to break down some of the new primary characters, give our thoughts on the film, and also share some of the comic book origins of some of the characters. And yes, there will be spoilers.
Attention Skywalkers! Spoilers ahead!
Warning!
Attention Skywalkers! Spoilers ahead!
Warning!
Spoilers ahead! Spoilers ahead!
All right, now with that, let's start with a summary.
Paul Rudd returns as Scott Lang, and he's living life after the Battle of Earth with his girlfriend, Hope Van Dyne, aka the Wasp, aka Evangeline Lilly, and he's being a dad to his daughter Cassie. This time, she is played by Katherine Newton, and Cassie is now a teenager and has been working on a device that can contact the quantum realm, in case her dad or anyone she loves ever gets stuck there again. And when she shows it to them, panic comes across Hank Pym, who played by Michael Douglas, and Janet Van Dyne, Michelle Pfeiffer. But it's too late. A portal opens and sucks the five into the quantum realm, where they remain for nearly the whole movie.
As we've seen in the last couple of Ant-Man films, Janet had been trapped in the quantum realm for 30 years, but never told her family about Kang the Conqueror, who was played by Jonathan Majors. And this is a man who she met and eventually took over the quantum realm, and whom she almost helped escape after he was trapped there by the Council of Kangs.
Now, when the five are sucked into the quantum realm, they got separated, and they meet various friends and foes, including rebel leader Gentora and her gang, and also Lord Kryler, who is played by Bill Murray, and he's a former ally and lover of Janet's. And they meet Modok, who is hilariously retconned in this film to be Darren Cross from the first Ant-Man film. And he is now, Modok is in the MCU.
Officially. Now, Scott and Cassie end up in Kang's prison, where he demands that Scott help get the power core to his ship running again, or he will kill Cassie. Oh, Scott, what are you going to do? But later, Scott and Hope acquire the power core, and a huge battle ensues. Kang tries to escape the quantum realm, while the other heroes and people they meet along the way try to stop him. Hank Pym's ants end up saving the day and stop Kang before he can escape. As our five heroes use the power core to jump through the portal and get home, Scott is last and ends up in a battle with Kang. Hope returns and the two destroy the power core and knock Kang into it, pulling him into oblivion.
Cassie then reopens the portal, and Scott and Hope return home.
All right, Sarah, do you want to go ahead and give us your review?
Okay, so I'll give some initial thoughts, and then we'll kind of get into the nitty-gritty a little bit, all right? So overall, we watched this at a press screening. It was a full house. You could tell there were a lot of Marvel fans there. And I had fun with the film, but I have some mixed feelings about it, because there was things I liked, there was things I didn't like. I felt very analytical towards this film and not that emotionally invested. So the film, it had humor, it had a mystery, and it had a nice family dynamic with the three generations of the Pyms Van Dynes. But because the setting was mostly in the quantum realm, it was really hard for me to relate to it, like emotionally. Even though you have this family dynamic, there didn't seem to be enough scenes between the family members to really flesh that out a little more. It was more about the people they met in the quantum realm and how they dealt with the whole quantum realm itself.
Okay, if I can insert this.
Sure.
It was visually very noisy.
Yes, and it was dark too. Like, the quantum realm was dark. There was no sun. And like my biggest thought when I was watching this film was that I was almost watching an animated type film like The Jungle Book, where you have all the photorealistic animation around a single person. This is what this movie felt like. Now, if you think about it, a lot of the other MCU movies are like that. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy is out in space. So it's a lot like that, but because it was the quantum realm, I couldn't relate to anything in it. I don't know.
Yeah, with Guardians of the Galaxy, they had a lot of sets you could relate to, like a city.
Yes.
You could relate to, unlike here, you have a digital city with unfamiliar type architecture.
Right. Yeah, and part of the fun of the first two Ant-Man's films is that they really played with scale in our world. So think of that final battle in the first Ant-Man film where Yellow Jacket and Ant-Man are fighting in Cassie's room, and they get small, and all of a sudden there's a train coming, and they're like, oh my gosh, it's big. And then it cuts to a shot if you're normal size, and it just looks like a toy train just crashed, and it was really funny. So you don't get any of that in the quantum realm because everything is so weird, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Richard, what about your initial overall thoughts?
I was deeply invested when the film opened with the theme to one of my favorite 1970s shows, Welcome Back, Kotter.
Welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out. Welcome back to that same old.
Oh, yes. You loved that.
I was so excited because I knew the director, Peyton Reed, had my generation in mind. If he's going to open up this film with a theme song to a show that not many people nowadays knows, it's like he's looking at people like of my age group and going, I got you covered.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, that was where the nostalgic references ended.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Like the last few Marvel films, I really liked this movie. I liked it once.
Mm.
And like those films of the past, of the last, let's say, last year,
yeah.
I don't have a need to watch this again. I had fun watching it once, but that was it. I'm good. I was excited to see another Ant-Man film because I love the humor because they're comedies. That first film, we were rolling in the aisles. So hysterically funny, but would you call this one a comedy?
No, definitely.
Not a
No,
bit.
honestly,
Not what
it
you
was-
expect from an Ant-Man film.
It was more an adventure. I would say action-adventure over a comedy.
And they set up the first two films being comedies, and this one really pulled back with that. And once you start dealing with multiverses and quantum realms, you just need to spend more time explaining that. So you spend time with that and not so much on the humor.
Yeah, Glenn has a good comment here. He says, they never explain the significance of the quantum realm and how it relates to our world. You know, you make a good point, Glenn. In this film, they really didn't. I remember the first Ant-Man film, they did explain the quantum realm and how it has no ties to time. But you had to have watched that film and remembered that information. Or Endgame, they also brought up the fact that the quantum realm was a place where they basically time traveled to get to the various other Infinity Stones.
Well, they did say that this realm takes place out of our universe, kind of like the world between worlds in
Right.
Star Wars Rebels.
Ooh.
So it's outside of what we know to be true. That's great, but let's bring it back down to what we do know on Earth. Or once again, it's just going to be very visually noisy.
Mm-hmm. Let me say, I did like some things too. So I really liked the whole mystery to this, even though it required a character to not divulge information that they really should have divulged, right? So Janet Van Dyne is scared of the quantum realm, and she tells people, oh, you shouldn't contact the quantum realm, but she doesn't tell people why. And this is always a problem, like, because she met, and we realize throughout the film that it's Kang the Conqueror that is down there and has taken over the quantum realm. And throughout the film, we learn these bits and pieces that eventually bring the whole story together.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with that because I just knew that that's somewhere you don't want to go near because once it pulls you in, you're in there for 30 years.
Yeah, that's true.
But like you're alluding to, she never said why that's so dangerous to be into the quantum realm because of Kang the Conqueror.
Yeah, so I'm kind of like, I like and yet I don't like the fact that there was that mystery. I like it because I like solving puzzles, and solving puzzles throughout the film is fun, but the fact that the puzzle was there because a character didn't divulge information they should have. But there were certain things that were funny, like the whole Modok reveal.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that was the funniest bit in the whole
yeah.
movie.
And when Cassie and Scott Lang, they were separated from the rest of their group and ended up in this like society of people who were drumming and chanting and
the natives of the quantum realm.
Thank you. And bringing them over to this place where they were going to like pour what looked like blood into their mouths and make them drink. And they were like, drink, blah, 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 blah. And they were saying, drink the ooze, drink the ooze.
So why didn't Cassie just say, if you drink the ooze, Dad, you'll understand what everyone is saying?
Yeah, Cassie was like, drink the ooze. She didn't say why. Yeah.
I know I'm your daughter, you should trust me, but maybe a little more information would help smoothen the question of why I should drink the ooze.
Yeah.
You're telling me to drink this red jello type gelatinous ooze from a different realm.
Ew.
Yeah, I need more information. Thank you.
Yes. Of course, once they drink the ooze, then they can understand everyone in the quantum realm.
Right. Now, I like the new characters in the quantum realm, and they provided a lot of levity.
Yes.
Where you really needed it. I liked Veb and Quaz. They were two funny, very digital creatures, but they were the comic relief.
Mm-hmm.
And Veb was like a Jar Jar Binks type of a character with the eye stalks and a big Buzz Lightyear dome. And Quaz this character was a laser head.
Yeah. It's like no eyes, no, just a laser for a head.
That was it. And let's call out Lord Kryler, played by Bill Murray, who had a very short scene, but all the while I couldn't stop thinking, why was he cast in this?
Mm-hmm.
Does Marvel need stunt casting for this?
They really don't.
No.
And the scene really didn't forward the plot at all.
It was just one more piece of how Janet spent her time down the quantum realm, because she and Lord Kryler had a little something going on.
Yeah.
But all the while we're watching Bill Murray, I'm thinking, why is Pete Venkman in this movie?
Yeah.
I just couldn't get out of it. Now, speaking of which, we meet Lord Kryler in a space bar.
Yes.
Okay, after Star Wars, you just can't have a space bar or you'll be compared to Star Wars.
I did think I liked the location, though. I thought it was fun.
It was fun. It was a great scene, but you have a space bar, guess what? You're always going to be connected to Star Wars, and we've seen this a billion times since 1977, but I think it worked here better than any other time I'd seen it in any other film.
Oh, interesting.
Great characters, great location, and the scene worked.
Mm.
All right, Modok.
Yes!
Let's go on to Modok.
Okay.
Now, he's Kang's right-hand henchman.
In this film.
Yeah, and I just loved the reveal. And when his faceplate opens up, it's like, hey, that's Darren / Yellow Jacket from the first movie.
Paul Rudd, Darren? And yet he's like a grotesque, widened Darren. It's just it's creepy, and yet it's funny, and it's, oh my God.
This is the most ridiculous character in any big franchise film.
But Modok was already ridiculous.
Very much so.
Yeah.
But in any kind of franchise film, I don't want to hear another word about Jar Jar after seeing Modok, and I never want to hear another negative word about Howard the Duck, all right? After Modok.
That was your first thought coming out of the film.
Yeah, I don't want to hear a thing anybody else until you see Modok. Now, if you want to see more of Modok, he has an animated series, well, one season, on Hulu.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that show, I just couldn't get Patton Oswalt's voice out of my head, who voices Modok in the series.
Yeah. Although the series is a really good place to get a origin story for Modok.
Yeah, we'll get into that in just a little bit, but
yeah.
Give us more of your viewpoints on the film.
Okay, well, you talked about Modok, but I want to talk about Kang. There are some wide viewpoints about Kang. Now, he's played by Jonathan Majors, and it's very interesting acting choices he makes. Like a lot of people are loving it. I think it's interesting. I think he chooses to be very slow in his delivery, which really makes you pay attention, because in this day and age where everything's fast, you see your TikToks, you're on to the next one, after 30 seconds, right? Like, you have to really slow yourself down to listen to Kang. But by the end, his cadence kind of started to bug me. I don't know. And his powers were never explained, at least that I remember. Like, he creates these laser blasts, or he flicks his finger and a door would open, or he creates a shield. Like, how does he do this? I don't know. It's like this power of convenience, and it's not very clear. Like Thanos, we understood his motivations, and we understood that he wanted to collect the Infinity Stones because that gave him the power of each Infinity Stone.
Yeah, this is the second time we've seen Kang, and I understand just a little tiny bit, but yet I don't care.
Oh, okay. Do you want to share any more about Kang?
Now, I know they're building to something big, seeing how in another 8 films we're going to get Avengers the Kang Dynasty, but as of now, I'm just not on board with Kang. To follow Ultron and then Thanos, you need something big. And after what we've seen in Loki and now here, I'm just not feeling like the world is in trouble.
Okay.
I just wish they had laid out his plan moving forward to get a better grasp of his character. It was slightly hinted at in the post-credit scene, but not really enough for me. I'm just speaking for me. I'm not saying as a general blanket term for everybody. And in just a bit, we'll break down his character, so maybe I'll change my mind. But after reading some comics, I'm just not on board with this character. Jonathan Majors, I think, is a perfect acting choice because I do like his cadence.
Yeah.
But once again, this is just not a character to follow up something like Thanos.
Okay, so I feel that if you wanted to really feel some like fear of Kang, that I feel like this Kang should have won the end battle and escaped into the real world. And had they done that, I feel like he would have been far more formidable going further into films in Phase 5. Now, Kang, he mentions both as He Who Remains at the end of Loki and this Kang here that we meet in the Quantum Realm. They both warn of other Kangs that are going to take over the multiverse.
Well, they're more dangerous Kangs.
Yes. And so I guess this is what they're referring to, and this is what eventually the Kang Dynasty will be about. And also in the mid-credit scene, we did see this what is that called? Council of Kangs as well.
Isn't there one main Kang?
Yes, apparently there is.
Okay, so and the rest are just like the minions who will traverse the multiverses to take over those.
Yeah, I don't know.
Versus?
Yeah. Now, when I said about his powers, I didn't really understand them. I have since asked some people and looked online as well. And so Kang is from the 30th century or a far future with very advanced tech. And so he brings that tech back to like our time, and it seems very powerful, and that science and that magic is just science we haven't discovered yet, basically. So he seems magical, but it's really just science that he's bringing back. So should we get into Kang then and his comic book origins?
One last thing?
Sure.
One last thing before we head into Kang.
Okay.
And boy, this kind of ruined the movie for me.
Oh no!
In the very end.
Okay.
They ended with one of the worst cliches ever, and I hate this because you see it coming, and I just don't like when they write this kind of stupidity into characters.
Oh, okay.
Okay, now, in the end, Scott Lang and his family all make it to the portal to get back home. And they all jump in. They're all safe.
They're running through.
And right before Scott jumps through the portal, he stops to give his daughter a heartwarming speech. So I'm yelling inside my head, what are you doing? Take 2 more steps into your own realm and back home, and you're safe. Why are you stopping right here in the quantum realm to give this heartwarming speech? So you know exactly what's going to happen. The same thing that always happens when a character stalls. Kang bursts in, and another fight starts with Scott, preventing him from escaping the realm and getting home. If he just gave his daughter that speech 12 more inches away, where he could have gotten back home, they'd all be sitting down to dinner and reminiscing about the wacky time they had in the quantum realm.
However, because he was stopped, Ant-Man was able to fight him and get Kang to, what is it? He threw him into his power core, and it got sucked into a quantum realm within the quantum realm.
Yeah, and I'm on board with that.
Yeah.
But just before we move another 12 inches back home to safety, Cassie, I'm going to stop and give you this very heartwarming, fatherly speech.
It's kind of like the villain who does a monologue before they kill someone.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Only that you just kind of eat up because you don't want the villain
Right,
to to win.
You see where I'm getting at, right?
I do.
Don't stop before going to safety.
Yes. I get it.
Why is that so hard?
I get it.
All right. Okay, I'm sorry. I had to get that off my chest.
No problem. I have one more thing to say too.
Okay.
And it sounds like we really hate this movie. Like we had fun watching it, but there's just so many little nitpicks. It's hard. I mean, we are tasked with giving our review, right? And so we have to say
an honest
review. Yes. So I have one more thing to say, and that is that once you start bringing in the multiverse, you're screwed. Because no one can properly die. And Kang, even in this movie, says, I've killed Avengers. Have I killed you? They all run together after a while. Are you the one with the hammer? You know? That was a funny moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the second of three funny bits in the whole movie.
Yes.
And Ant-Man says, yeah, I'm the one with the hammer.
Yeah, that's me. Our physiques are similar.
Yeah.
So cute. But, so I kind of am sad because I don't think we'll ever feel the weight again of half of our heroes getting dusted at the end of Infinity War.
No.
Like, that was such a moment. The whole theater, we just our whole breath just left us because we didn't have a multiverse. We didn't think that our heroes could come back.
Right. And then when we see Natasha, Black Widow, fall to her death, we'll see her again in another film.
So I'm a little sad that they've introduced the multiverse.
Yeah.
Because I feel like while it was exciting, like in Loki, where, you saw the multiverse getting unleashed when Sylvie killed He Who Remains. Remember that? That was a cool moment. However, I didn't realize that would really affect how I felt about all these characters moving forward.
Yeah, I know you've always felt really bad that Wanda died in Doctor Strange in the multiverse of mania.
Of madness.
That's the one.
Yeah.
But you know what? We're going to see her again somewhere else in the form that you really fell in love with her in WandaVision.
Right. Although that particular Wanda who went through all those trials and tribulations in WandaVision is dead, I guess.
But they can always go back in time and revisit the nice Wanda.
Yes. Yes, they could.
So more to your point that they've ripped out any kind of emotional ties we would have with losing any of these characters.
Right.
All right, talk about losing characters. Let's move on to Kang.
Okay.
I wish we could lose him.
Oh, no. Well, okay, so hopefully he'll become more of a formidable opponent. What do you guys think of Kang? Do you think right now, are you scared of him like you were of Thanos? Let us know in the comments. I'm curious because Rich and I are kind of in the same plane with this, but other people have different feelings. So let us know. But before we get into that, I'm going to share some comic book origins for Kang and Modok because we always love doing that here. I love learning all that stuff. So in the MCU, Kang was a scientist from the 31st century. And at that time, he uncovered the existence of the multiverse and all of his variants. He then began destroying other timelines to win the multiversal war against his variants. Now, in the comics, according to some comic timelines, Kang is descended or related to Reed Richards' father, Nathaniel Richards. Now, Reed Richards is of the Fantastic Four.
He's Mr. Fantastic.
Which we know that Marvel now has, or Disney now has control of because of 20th Century Studios, right? So, also in some comics, Kang's name is also Nathaniel Richards before he dubs himself Kang or Kang the Conqueror or the other various Kangs. Even though Kang's original name in some comics is Nathaniel Richards, he is not the father of Reed Richards.
But Glenn Stein says here in the Sky Chat, I'm not scared by Kang because he is dead. However, the Council of Kangs seems ominous.
Right. Okay.
I'd like to see what they're going to do. I'd like to see more of their plan.
Right.
To make them feel more ominous. But Glenn is a big comic book reader, so I'm sure he's way ahead of us in Kangness.
Yep. All right, so in the comics, Kang is from the 31st century, and as Nathaniel Richards, he came across Dr. Doom's time travel tech invented in the 1960s. And he used it to go in the past and take over ancient Egypt. But here in the past, he was defeated by the Fantastic Four. So then he just traveled further in time to the 40th century and got super advanced tech and then used it to become Kang the Conqueror.
So I can see where he's coming from there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to the past and build myself up for the future.
Yeah.
But when that didn't happen, it's like, all right, screw it. That didn't work out, so I'm going to go to the future and retcon.
Yeah. Even further future.
Yeah.
Now, in the MCU, Kang can only travel with his time ship that's powered by that power core. And hence, he was stuck in the quantum realm when his power core was messed up. Well, in the comics, he can travel with the time ship, but he can also use devices that are built into his armor. So he has different ways of traveling through time. And his powers in the comics, he can repel attacks using force fields, and he can also discharge powerful energy blasts with his armor.
Now, this is where it lost me in the comics, because whatever he needed was a touch of a button.
Yeah.
Because now, in the comics, he'll say, now I'm going to touch this button and do this. Now I'll touch this button and do that. But Kang, you're touching the same button. So I don't get what you're doing there.
Okay. Now, one of the most interesting differences, in my opinion, in the comics is that Kang, this version of him that we see in Quantumania, in the comics, he is put in limbo. He is not put in the quantum realm. So limbo is vast and empty and disconnected from time, much like they explain that that's the quantum realm. So I find it cool that in the MCU, they just said, oh, we have Ant-Man over here that already has the quantum realm. Let's make that limbo and like solidify all our stories together. So I thought that was a cool thing that they did with the MCU. Yeah. Now, 1980s comics, this is what introduced the Council of Kangs that we see in this mid-credits scene. So let's go over who we see. We see an arena full of Kangs. Rama Tut is the Egyptian pharaoh outfit version of Kang.
I remember seeing him.
Yes. And there's also a Kang with a long robe, and people are thinking that that is Immortus.
I remember seeing that one.
Okay. And then the third Kang we see, he's got some armor on him, although a lot of them do. People are thinking that that is Scarlet Centurion. And I don't know.
Don't recall seeing that one.
Yeah.
It was just a lot to keep track of at this point.
Yes, there are.
Because these mid-credit scenes are so short.
Yeah.
That by the time your brain's caught up to what's going on, they cut away.
They do.
Which is the intention of it, but some of us want more information.
It's true.
So seeing the whole arena full of Kangs, like, okay, he's going to unleash these all throughout the multiverses, so that can be dangerous, but what about Kang 115? Is he as dangerous? I don't know. He could be like the goofy of the whole group.
Yeah.
So not much to worry about.
Okay, so one more thing. Kang the Conqueror in the comics is obsessed with defeating Avengers because in the comics, he has lost so many fights to them. Whereas here in the MCU, he mentions here in Quantumania that he's defeated them so many times, he's lost count of who he's defeated or lost track.
Yeah.
So it's a little different.
Uh-huh.
But, you know, now Ant-Man has defeated him, Ant-Man and the Wasp. So, yeah, the Council of Kangs are going to be looking for him.
It's clear we're not excited about Kang. So let's move on to his right-hand man or head.
Or Vader.
Yes. Modok.
Yes. Okay, so Modok was featured in Tales of Suspense number 93, created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby.
Yes.
As a sinister yet sympathetic villain. And his origin story, he belonged to the criminal organization AIM. He was an employee, and his name was George Tarleton. And he tried to increase his intelligence with a medical experiment gone wrong. And the result was that his head grew to the abnormal size, while every other part of his body, it had the opposite effect.
That's just comedy right there.
It is, yeah. So he became Modok, M-O-D-O-C, the mental organism designed only for computing, because he wanted to upgrade his intelligence. But he decided to get revenge on the AIM employees that altered his body, and he took over the organization and renamed himself Modok with a K, which means mental organism designed only for killing, which when that was said in the theater got a huge response from all the Marvel people.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so in the comics, he would go on to primarily serve as a villain for Captain America, but he also faced off against Iron Man, the Hulk, and the X-Men.
Now, I gotta read these comics because I just can't see the Hulk taking this seriously or any character taking this villain seriously. Kind of like Mr. Mxyzptlk in the DC universe.
Yes.
Like, how do you take this little leprechaun seriously?
All right, so now, as Richard mentioned, there's a TV series, Modok, and it's a 2021 TV series. And Modok has spent years failing to gain control of the world and to defeat the superheroes he challenged along the way.
But now in the series, he deals more with his family more than fighting opposing forces. So it's more of a family character. Yeah, I think he lives with his mom. His mom is always yelling at him, and he's having a midlife crisis. So it's funny on that.
Tantrums, like an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
And with this big giant head, it's just really funny.
It's just really, really funny, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like what the super villains are doing when they're not super villaining, when they're at home. Kind of like Cyril Karn in Andor. When they're forced back home. And,
oh my God!
And they're
like
living under their mom's oppression, mom's taunting. Why aren't you doing more with your life?
Mm-hmm.
Now I want to watch this series again.
All right. So we did speak about the first mid-credit scene with the Arena of Kangs, but let's talk about the post-credit scene, which was basically a trailer for Loki Season 2.
I'm on board.
Woohoo! So we go back in time, and we know that because of the sepia tone that they use, right?
Mm-hmm.
And here we see a magician named Victor Timely, and he starts to talk about time in a presentation at like a vaudeville show in the early 1910s, 1920s, something like that. Then we see the audience. Who's in the audience, Richard?
Loki and Mobius from Loki Season 1. And Loki says to Mobius, "Oh my God, it's him."
Yes.
And Mobius says, "That's it?"
Yeah.
He looks fun.
He doesn't look dangerous. Whatever he's, I mean, we're paraphrasing, but yeah. And that got like the second biggest laugh.
Well, the third after
third biggest.
Ant-Man compared himself to Thor's physique.
Yes.
So that's a total of 3 laughs.
And then it cut to black, and that was all we got about Loki Season 2. So that was the most exciting moment in the film for me. I'm like, okay, I'm on board for Loki Season 2. It was so lovely seeing Tom Hiddleston. I was like, oh, it's Loki. Mm-hmm. He's back. Mm-hmm. And he and Mobius, I just love their relationship. It's so cute. Another reason why I really wish they would have fleshed out more relationships, the familial relationships in Quantumania. I think they got out a lot of good scenes there, but instead they focused on action and them relating to the quantum realm instead.
All right. So, with all that said, do I even have to ask if Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania fits into your top 5 MCU films or top 10 or top 31?
I mean, it's in there. I'd have to actually sit down and list, but right now, definitely not a top 10 installment.
This is once again is fun once. A lot to go through. It sets up Phase 5 into Phase 6, but hopefully with the next couple of outings, they're going to flesh it out even more.
Right, which brings us to the point that Marvel announced they are slowing down.
Yeah, they're going to slow down their output for the MCU. But next up, we have to look forward to Secret Invasion.
Oh.
And this is coming to Disney Plus in spring of 2023.
Oh, so that is still coming.
Yeah,
wow.
Yes. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 on May the 5th. Loki Season 2, summer of 2023. And The Marvels, which was pushed back to November 10th, 2023.
Oh, I'm sad about that, but if it gives them more time to make like a better film or a better looking film at this point, because I'm sure they're in post-production,
Yeah.
then I'm okay with that.
Bob Iger and Kevin Feige have recently reported that they're going to slow down the releases of the MCU films and shows because they're just really expensive, and to churn them out so fast, it's not becoming so cost effective anymore. Even though these films make $1 trillion, look how much they're doing per year. So they got to start slowing down, and to really get out of the Marvel fatigue people are starting to say they have.
Well, like the last, I don't know, 4 Marvel films, I feel they haven't really been up to par.
And there you go.
Yeah, so
that says it all. So being pushed back
Mhm.
is Echo, which is the Hawkeye spinoff, Ironheart, which I guess is the Wakanda Forever spinoff with the girl, the girl Iron Man.
Right. She's the new Ironheart.
She's the
new Iron Man,
Yeah.
but they call her Ironheart. Yes.
And I'm sorry to say, Agatha
Oh, Coven of Chaos.
is being pushed back to 2024. I was so looking forward to seeing this in October of this year.
Me too. Okay, when I heard the news, all the news, I was most upset about Agatha Coven of Chaos, which really tells me how much I was looking forward to that.
Oh, I know. And I didn't want to be the one to break it to you,
But you did.
But having to prep for this episode, I really did. I'm so sorry. Now, is there fatigue? I guess you can call it fatigue because there's so much going out. However, I'm trying to piece this together in my head. Now, during Phase 4, Marvel Studios released 18 projects, okay?
Holy
18
buckets.
across theatrical and streaming, which, when you boil it down, it was 4 films and 5 TV shows in 2021, and 3 films and 3 TV shows, including a few specials, in 2022. So I'm guessing, yes, there would be fatigue because for these shows and films, you have to keep up or you're not going to be able to really move forward. You have some spin-off shows like the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special and Werewolf by Night, which you don't really have to know the rest of the MCU to enjoy.
Right.
So I guess fatigue would be a good way of putting it. Or you could just not see the films as they come out and just save it and watch it a couple of months later on. If you're feeling like you're burnt out, well, don't watch Ant-Man right now. Wait until it gets to Disney Plus when you've had a little bit of time from Doctor Strange to now, or even the MCU shows. So you can be responsible and watch them at your own pace.
Well, okay, so I have something to say here. So at the beginning of the MCU, we only had films. They did not worry about shows. And you had first 1 film a year, then it was 2 films a year, then it was 3 films a year, right? And so what they did was they kept the pacing of the films up, but then added the Disney Plus shows. And I think they realized over the past 2 years that it almost became too much and that you really could just have maybe 3 Marvel things a year, or 3 or 4 projects. And that's really all you need. Whether it's a movie or a TV show or a special, that's like all you need as like your little lily pad getting you throughout the year with your Marvel things.
I think it's a great idea to start spreading them out because of, once again, costs, and because so we don't get burnt out. And there's just so much information to take in with each and every show and film that it gets kind of mentally tiring and exhausting watching some of these films.
But also, I hope that helps people really massage the story more and have a little more time for these projects. Like in Quantumania, like they could have added a few scenes with more emotional beats to them. Things like that.
Now, here goes the big question of the day. You ready for this?
Okay.
Is Bob Iger afraid that DC might pull ahead because the DC division is now being run by James Gunn? And you saw what he did with Guardians of the Galaxy, and Suicide Squad was a great film. Are they going, oh, wait a minute, if we keep up with this pace, we're going to burn ourselves out? And then DC, who is now restructuring everything, they may pull ahead. Do you think maybe there's a concern there? I would be concerned if I was Bob Iger.
I feel like DC is so far behind right now that it's not an issue now, but Bob Iger is forward thinking, as we've seen. He's much like the Emperor a little bit, thinking far ahead.
Plays the long game.
Yes. So I think in that way, if he looks that far ahead, I think you could be right.
And seeing how Kevin Feige has put his stamp of approval on the Flash film.
Oh.
Yeah, he said this is one of the best superhero films he's ever seen.
What?
And he wouldn't just be saying that because if the Flash comes out and it's horrible, people will never trust Kevin Feige again.
Oh, right, because he said that.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So
Oh, goodness.
I truly believe this is what's going on behind the scenes, that they've got to slow down, and DC is going to start pulling ahead. If the Flash is already getting these great reviews, forget about what you know about Ezra Miller, the star. If it's as great as everyone says it is, they can really start blossoming from that, and their Flash could be our Iron Man. Look what happened after Iron Man. So I think there's a little bit of those concerns, and it's always good to have competition. That'll keep you on your toes.
Right.
And it'll keep you at your best.
And also, public opinion switches on a dime. So, so yeah.
Public opinion will switch on a tweet.
On a tweet, yes. Yes, it will. So, okay.
So, Skywalkers, what do you think about all this? Lots to digest here. Tell us what you think about Ant-Man and the Quantumania of Quantumanias. And is Bob Iger afraid DC may pull ahead?
Let us know.
Shout-outs, Skywalker shout-outs. Which Skywalkers get props from here in Neverland? Who was tweeted out? Shout out. Who was photobombed? Shout out. Who was shared a post? Shout out.
All right, so as always, we love it when you Skywalkers tell us what you think about a comic book or a TV show or a movie. So we put out a post in our Skywalking Through Neverland Facebook group and page asking everyone what they thought about Quantumania.
Yep, so we're going to read some of your comments. Eric Unkenhout says, I enjoyed it, especially the creativity in the different aliens.
Love the aliens. Hey, right on the money there. Craig Dickinson said, I thought the plot was a mess and the characters were without nuance.
Wow, lay it all out there, Craig.
So what do you guys really think?
Joshua Jordan says, I liked it, though it wasn't my favorite MCU film. Favorite characters, Kang and Cassie Lang.
Yeah, I agree there, because Cassie wasn't one of those angst-ridden teenagers.
No!
She didn't have time to be an angst-ridden teenager.
You didn't even mention that in your review. You hate all these angsty teenagers.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was great.
Jonathan Marquin says, I enjoyed it a lot, especially that one hilarious character I won't name was handled perfectly. I think he's talking about Modok.
Yeah.
I think we
We got it.
Read between the lines. But I didn't like it as much as the first two Ant-Man films. However, it felt more like a precursor to the Kang saga than the standalone films I'm used to with Ant-Man. Yeah, the first Ant-Man film was more of a standalone.
I agree.
And the second one really was starting to branch out. So yeah.
And we'll round this out with Courtney Turkell's comment, and she says, I really liked this movie. I thought it was a middle-of-the-pack movie. It was hilarious, and Jonathan Majors is very good as the antagonist. I like that this is the first movie in Phase 5, and it's already connecting the dots to where we are eventually going to end up. It made me super excited for Loki Season 2.
If you can say anything, you can say that this makes us really, really excited for what we're going to see, hopefully, this summer with Loki Season 2.
Yep.
So, Skywalkers, we want to hear more comments.
Yes.
So, put it in the post to this show. Oh, we have some
comments from the Sky Chat. Adam O'Brien says that the biggest mystery about the film, how does Paul Rudd not ever age? I don't know, Adam.
Yeah.
It's like insane.
Yeah, there's no need to ever use the de-aging
technology
on Paul Rudd.
That's so funny.
All right, Martin Killer says, it did have the way I want to die, being entrapped by a million Paul Rudds.
That is so funny. He was being trapped, and then they're like, oh, take him up. You know what? That scene reminded me, all the Paul Rudds in a big pile that just kept getting higher and higher, and the Paul Rudds were crawling up and falling and crawling up and falling. Have you ever read the book Hope for the Flowers? It's like a children's book. Well, it's the same thing. It's about all these caterpillars that are building these tall towers that look pretty much exactly like that Ant-Man tower did.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And all the caterpillars are trying to climb to the very top. And when they do, there's nothing there. They're just all trying to climb on top of each other. But if you're a caterpillar and you decide, you know what, I don't want to go with that rat race, I'm going to go do my own thing over here and make a cocoon, you become a butterfly and you can just fly to the top of all those towers and be like, hey, I'm a butterfly, hi guys, and then fly away. And it's a great story. It's like,
great message.
Yeah.
Don't follow the pack.
Yes.
Don't be another brick in the wall.
So that's what that made me think of.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
All right. Glenn Stein says here in the Sky chat about Ezra Miller. Ezra Miller is still on the way to the hole where Robert Downey Jr. was in before Iron Man. So Robert Downey Jr. was not doing too well and trouble with the law. Same with that's why Ezra Miller is trying. Why do we keep saying Ezra Miller? Ezra Miller. That's hard to say for a Bostonian. Ezra Miller is taking his lead from Robert Downey Jr. Saying, hey, you know what? I get in trouble with the law too, and that's how I'm going to follow in the steps of Robert.
Yes. Oh my God. That's an interesting point too.
Yes, it is.
And now Glenn is saying, has anyone bought Scott Lang's book? Apparently it is an actual book and an audio, I think it's an audio book, in which case I'm going to buy it right away.
Yeah, during his whole opening Welcome Back Kotter scene, he's doing these book signings.
Yeah.
And book readings.
And it's like a real book that you can buy. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, with that, let's check in with Spencer Jawitz and find out what's happening with Boonta Eve and Celebration Europe 2023. Celebration Europe 2023 is just around the corner on April 7th and the 10th, as a matter of fact. Unfortunately, we are not able to attend, but luckily we have plenty of great friends who are going and can keep us updated on not just the convention itself, but the events going on around the convention. The biggest event is, no doubt, Boonta Eve, which is happening on April the 6th, the day before Celebration. Now, if you attended the Big Boonta Eve Bash in Anaheim last May, you'll know what an amazing and life-changing event this is. And now, here to tell us all about the upcoming bash and give us extreme FOMO is organizer and our good friend, Spencer Jawitz. Hey, Spencer.
Hey, Richard. How are you, my friend?
I am good, but right now the FOMO just set in 100%.
Yeah, I can honestly, I can empathize with that. It's coming fast and furious. We are weeks away from Celebration, weeks away from Boonta. We feel like that we're ready, but we're also feeling like we're behind the eight ball on so many things, especially since this is such a unique Boonta that we're about to produce.
Missing Celebration, I don't want to do, but missing the next Boonta Eve Bash is something I really don't want to do. I had such a fun time in Anaheim last Celebration in Anaheim.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, I've thought many times, in the past year, wow, did I miss out on my Celebration experience by not being able to be at Celebration proper? And honestly, I didn't feel like I missed anything because after Boonta, I saw everybody that I wanted to see. I saw what panels or trailers I wanted to see online afterwards. It was more about the people, my friends that I hadn't seen in a while, and being able to see them in Anaheim before Celebration even started. To me, that was worth more than any Celebration experience I could possibly have had in Anaheim.
That's a very good soundbite. Nice. Now, how close is the Boonta Bash for this year? What, 6 weeks away? Oh, I'm sorry. Did that scare you?
It scares me immensely because we're the only United States group that is going over to London to run an event. As you mentioned, Anaheim was huge. It was a big feather in our cap. And basically, we all laughed afterwards, like, well, this destroys our business plan right off the bat. But after that, we realized that we cannot afford to take a year off because it's in London. We need to keep the momentum going. And yeah, it's a huge undertaking because obviously with the time difference, but the planning has been challenging because we're at a location called the Breakfast Club, first and foremost, which lends itself perfectly to any kind of marketing I could ever want to do, being a child of the 80s and a fan of the John Hughes movies. You know, our main graphic is a Twi'lek dressed like John Bender with his fist in the air. What's great about this location, first and foremost, we're in Canary Wharf, which is a legitimate stone's throw from the Canary Wharf tube stop where they filmed Rogue One. So if you're taking the tube, you have to go through a Star Wars set in order to get to us. Also, around the corner is where they filmed certain scenes of Andor in season 1.
Oh, nice. Oh, perfect location. Now, you know what? Let's back up and catch people up and tell them what exactly Boonta Eve is.
Boonta Eve is what we like to say is the ultimate pre-party for Celebration. There are a lot of events that are going on during Celebration, which honestly are absolutely fantastic events. I mean, there is hashtag Cantina 2, which is going to be at the O2 Indigo with Blues Harvest and Ash, and the last showing of Darth Elvis, which is going to be fantastic. You got the return of the Bash, with the 501st Bash, and the Rebel Legion barge up and down the Thames River, which is going to be absolutely incredible as well. But there's not really something that is of a magnitude really that is all-encompassing before Celebration. There's sometimes a dinner, or people do like meetups in the lobbies of the hotel, but it's not really an event that's going to get you hyped up for the days coming up. And also an event that is all ages. A lot of times you'll find events that are 18 plus or 21 plus, and there's nothing for kids and families that want to be part of the Celebration experience. What we look at it is it's an opportunity to meet people you've never met before, have a few drinks. We involve karaoke. We have other elements, including meet and greets and podcasts and so many other things. And because of the location that we have for London, it's lending ourselves opportunities to do things that we never were able to do in Anaheim, able to do before, and able to do on a global scale, because quite honestly, we have such an availability of talent that's over in the UK that's ready, available for us to do certain things with, which makes it that much more attractive as a producer for an event. So one thing I'm excited about is the fact that we have 2 floors to our capability. We rent out an entire location. So we have one room that's going to be called the Cantina, where we're going to have the meet and greets up in a mezzanine, and a special unplugged 2 sets done by our friends Blues Harvest. And that's just one room.
Wow.
In the other room, we have 2 podcasts going to be happening in the afternoon, one by Ireland's Blob of the Hut and the other by Fantha Tracks, followed by a DJ set by DJ Level Up Leroy, who is an incredible DJ. If you saw him in Chicago, he was absolutely incredible. He works alongside DJ Elliott. And also our All Around Idol competition. So we got entertainment and meetups and swag trading and everything all day long, and programming for 2 different rooms, which makes it even more daunting. 2 different floors, just to make sure that everybody's getting what they want and out of their experience over at Boonta.
Now, is there a description on your Facebook page that tells people what's going to be happening? That's a lot to keep track of, and the schedule.
So the schedule's not out yet because we're still finalizing our guest schedule, which I hope to get in the next coming days, which we're working very diligently on. But the meet and greets, I can say right off the bat, are going to be starting directly at 3 p.m. In the Cantina and running for about 4 hours that time. And interspersed throughout there is going to be the 2 sets by Blues Harvest. The podcasts are going to be a little bit staggered after that, because we want to make sure that, people are not running to go to one location or other. They can, have some time in between. So I think podcasts are going to start around 3:30 and go for until about 6:30 roughly. And then have Level Up Leroy do, a full set of just, DJ spinning He does video spinning, which is absolutely fantastic. And then start Alderaan Idol at 8 o'clock like we did before. So very excited. I mean, there are things we're still talking about that are still up in the air based upon the guests that we are in the process of working with, but it's going to be so exciting. Nervous because it's also the first time we're actually charging admission. Now, our main ticket for the full day ticket is completely sold out. We sold out within 3 days, only 250 capacity. And because of that, we actually had a conversation with the Breakfast Club that at 7:30 p.m. for a full hour, we are going to open up what we're calling a hyperspace ticket, which will be first come, first serve. They're going to tell us right before we open the doors how many people we can let in. It could be 10, it could be 30, it could be 100. We won't know until just before that happens. And you can come in just before Alderaan Idol starts and party up with us until 11 o'clock at night. This is the 6th of April, which is the Thursday. I keep on messing that up because I'm always thinking the Wednesday, Thursday schedule that we have in the United States. But it's a Thursday schedule. We're going to have Boonta on the Thursday and the Not So Virtual Cantina 2 on the Wednesday.
And the Not So Virtual Cantina is?
It's going to be at the Aloft at the Excel, which is the hotel attached to the Excel Center. We're going to be meeting up at the WXYZ bar, which is in the lobby for, a number of drinks, swag trading, just hanging out, getting to know each other. Because as Richard can attest to that, and Sarah can as well, having a conducive conversation at Boonta is hard because there's so much going on. It's very loud, but it's a lot of fun. Whereas at Not So Virtual Cantina, you'll get to meet the mods and admins of our group in a low-key environment where we can sit down, have a beverage, and actually just chat, which is awesome in itself. And that's free. And that's free as well. So
that's always a key element. And since Boonta Eve is all sold out, is there a waiting list?
So there is a waiting list on our group page, which is for Boonta Eve 4. So if you look up Boonta Eve 4 on Facebook, you will find our event page, and we have a list for those who are waiting for tickets. If people are, changing their mind or unable to get in time for the event, are able to sell their tickets. But as mentioned, there is always the possibility of getting on the hyperspace ticket. That is going to be limited based upon the numbers that we're given the day of. But here's the thing. If you are looking to audition for Alderaan Idol and you do not have a ticket and happen to qualify for the first round, we will move you to the front of the line of the hyperspace line to get a ticket, to make sure that you are in time for the competition to start, for you and 2 guests.
Oh, there's a back door to all this.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Now, I know you can't announce anyone who's going to be signing, but can you announce any of the celebrity judges for Alderaan Idol?
Unfortunately, I cannot announce anything yet. I have not been given the green light by the powers that be. However, there's going to be a nice mixture of OT, which I know people are wanting, and there's a plethora of talent out there, especially in England, that is available that are not going to be signing at Celebration, as well all the way through the Disney Plus era. So we're going to encompass the entire saga, which is really great. We're obviously going to try to go heavy on OT, which is what we would want. A nice mixture for those who are coming over from the States versus who's over in Europe, and vice versa.
Well, judging by the panel, by the judges you had last year with Eric Walker and Leilani Shu and Misty Rosas, if the lineup is anything like that, then FOMO is going into the 11s.
Absolutely. So it's going to be fantastic. I mean, I couldn't be more excited about, what we're doing over there. And it's come to a point where that, I'm proud to say is that our reputation precedes us. The people have heard about Boonta in the past and we're like, wow, I need to be there. So it's becoming the event to want to be at before Celebration, which is all we could ever ask for. We think of ourselves as, for the fans, by the fans, and try to do what we can to try to hype up the experience. And to me, there's no better way to hype up the experience and get psyched up for day one than being at Boonta.
And right now, Celebration's going, we got to follow that. Because last year, we not only did we have our book launch, but I was one of the co-hosts for the Alder Idol show, and it was just so much fun. So much fun. And wow, you're going to have a live stream that night, right?
We're going to have live streaming. We're actually, which is great, is that we're going to have exclusive live streaming and interviews brought to you by Jedi News. So James over at Jedi News is going to be like our commentator, our roving reporter, if you will. So on all the Jedi News socials, there'll be exclusive content on their page. Obviously, we'll have stuff going live on our pages as well. But one thing that we're doing this year is because half of our crew is not going to be coming over to London, is every night, Thursday through Monday, are going to do a recap of Celebration. So we're going to be feeding information to our team in the United States all day, and they're going to do a recap show every single day on our page about Celebration, hosted by Mark Van Olen, which we're very excited about.
Awesome. Okay, so I won't miss out on that much.
No, you'll not miss out on that much, but it's going to be so much fun. I mean, I'm sorry that we're going to miss you over there, but we have a bunch of things, including our traditional Idol preview show that we're going to have on March the 8th with you and Sarah. So I'm very, very excited about that one.
Yeah, very, very much so. That'll be here before we know it. Now let's jump over there to the other thing that's going on that week, Celebration.
I was going to talk about Sir Elton at the O2, but if you want to talk about Celebration, yeah, I can do that.
That deserves a whole show.
Yes, absolutely.
So Celebration, what are your plans for Celebration?
So I, as a collector, am trying to be as smart and economical as I can, because we have a lot of availability for other cons throughout the year that have Star Wars actors showing up at. So I am concentrating on either actors that I can't get over in the United States, or things that I absolutely need to jump in on because of the experience. My number one choice right now is Andy Serkis, right off the bat.
How many people will be bringing him a life raft?
I actually have a shirt made for my photo op that says "On Program Precious."
Every single picture with him will be the on program, hands behind the head.
It's going to either be that, or I'm showing Richard right now, but I have a bag full of the One Rings. I ordered one, I got 7. So I plan to try to do like half on program, half holding up the One Ring.
The One Ring?
Oh yeah, it's from another fandom.
Fill me in here.
Lord of the Rings. Andy Serkis played Smeagol Gollum, and he loved the One Ring, which was a power ring. So a lot of people, you're able to get him on multiple Star Wars items, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot of Lord of the Rings fans out there as well.
Okay, I wouldn't be one of them, because I have no idea what you're talking about. Can you tell us how much that one's going to go for, if you don't mind?
I believe, let me look it up.
And do it in American dollars, because if you go by the pounds, I can't do that kind of math in my head.
Okay, so let me look at the Epic website as we speak. Clicking on Andy Serkis. Okay, so his autograph is $124.99. Now I'm going to my converter here. It's about $150 for his autograph, which I think is reasonable. It's about $130 for his photo op. I think very reasonable, considering the fact that Andy's career has spanned decades. I mean, we've seen him in Lord of the Rings. He was in Marvel. He was in 13 Going on 30, if you're a fan of that movie. He was in Congo. He's Planet of the Apes. Just an incredible actor. So I think that having him there is a great addition, especially since his character. He's got 2 Star Wars characters. He's got Snoke and he's got Kino Loy. So he's going to have properties to, on both sides of Star Wars that he can sign upon. It's a great time to grab him. The other person that I was very excited about was Mads Mikkelsen, Galen Erso. I was very, very excited about that. I'm hoping for his brother to be announced. Who knows? I'm hoping for his brother to be announced for some live action show that's supposed to be coming out this year, but who knows if that's going to happen. But Mads, I'm very excited about. He's someone that we have not seen over in the United States. So could be able to get my Galen Urso Funko signed. And Mads right now is looking at about, I would say about an autograph about $130 and about $150 for his photo op, which I think is very reasonable as well. If you're a Harry Potter fan, he recently played Grindelwald in the Fantastic Beasts, taking over from Johnny Depp. Marvel guy as well. Look at Doctor Strange, the first one. He's in there as well. So he is, securely in the Mouse House, as you will, and has many properties to sign. But definitely having a Rogue One presence in Celebration is pretty exciting. I think those are my two top people that I was excited about.
Going to his brother, Lars Mikkelsen, chances are he's going to be playing Thrawn in Ahsoka.
We don't know.
He voiced him in Rebels.
Chances are he's doing it. When he flat out said that he has not been, approached or, would do it, but Liam Neeson said the same thing right before Obi-Wan.
Oh, Liam Neeson's been going on and on about how I will never do a Star Wars spinoff except for maybe the Clone Wars, except for maybe Obi-Wan Kenobi. Liam, what are you talking about? So what they say and what they mean and what they will actually do are three different things?
Absolutely. So I personally, as a, obviously I've been a fan of Thrawn since, Heir to the Empire first came out, that, that was the first Star Wars that we were actually, really, really latching onto after Return of the Jedi. And Thrawn was just an incredible character, and he's just jumped up a million times fold because he showed up in Rebels, which made us fans very, very excited about that. And new books by Timothy Zahn about the Thrawn anthology. So having him be live action Thrawn, I think that's pretty cool. Another person I will hope will be at Celebration in some capacity will be Mary Elizabeth Winstead. I'm hoping Mrs. Ewan McGregor. Rumor has it she might be playing Hera Syndulla. I'd be happy about that. I'm a fan of hers going back, not, to Harley Quinn, but actually back to Scott Pilgrim versus the World when she played Ramona Flowers.
Yeah, these rumors have been flying rampant, so if they're going to announce them officially, now is the time. And speaking of announcing things that may or may not happen, they're saying that they're going to be announcing new Star Wars theatrical films at Celebration. If they do that, are you excited? Because I know for me, be like, yeah, you guys can announce it, but I won't get excited until I actually see it.
Yeah, so I'm twofold on this because I went with our good friend Frank Rich to go see the re-release of Rogue One before Andor came out, and they released it for IMAX. And I'm like, wow, we're seeing a Star Wars movie in a theater again after COVID, after all that. This is pretty exciting. Unfortunately, when it's come to the Hall H panels or the investor relation panel that we had during COVID on December the 10th, a lot of those properties have not come to fruition. And we've heard things, as far as, Rogue Squadron with Patty Jenkins, or the Game of Thrones people doing one, or Taika having a film.
Oh, Kevin Feige, Ryan Johnson, the list goes on and on and on.
I hope we have something solidified. There is nothing, and there's nothing like going to an opening night of a Star Wars film in the theater with a bunch of fans that are cosplayed with lightsabers and flipping out when you see the Long Time Ago in a Galaxy Far, Far Away come on screen right before you even hear a theme song, going completely nuts. There's nothing like that. And I love what we're getting as far as content on Disney Plus, but a theatrical will be absolutely incredible. I'm hoping it's something not related to the Skywalker saga, because personally I'm kind of tired of that. But that's just me as an old school fan. I want to see outside, which is one of the reasons why I loved Andor so much, is because it was not related to that, directly to that world. So hopefully something good. We were surprised with Skeleton Crew during Celebration, and they finished filming. Maybe we'll get a clip of that.
Yeah, but that's on Disney Plus. But when it comes to theatrical releases and announcements, they haven't really been hitting it out of the park.
We'll see. I don't know. I'm just saying that I would like to see what I would particularly like to see as a fan. But I think that the fandom, there's been people saying, are we getting the Marvel exhaustion? And I really don't think we are. I really don't think. I think there's content for everybody in every sort of capacity, and I think that whatever we get, people are going to go in droves, and people are going to love it or they're going to hate it. But at the end of the day, we're getting content.
I couldn't agree more on that. And I don't think we're getting Star Wars fatigue at all. I don't even know what that is because I went 20 years without getting any Star Wars. So
that's the thing. We talk about this all the time, that the kids today will never have to worry about it's going to be something new Star Wars coming out.
Well, there you have it. All right, Spencer. Well, once again, I am so happy that Boonta Eve is such a huge success for you. I'm so happy that you're able to attend Celebration Europe 2023. I'm just happy for you and the whole Virtual Cantina group. I can't wait to see the content coming out. So once again, give us a recap of who, what, when, and where.
Yeah, so the Boonta Eve 4, which is technically sold out, will be at the Breakfast Club in Canary Wharf on the 6th of April from 3 p.m. until 11 p.m. And then we also have the Not So Virtual Cantina 2 at the Aloft Excel, which will be at 8 p.m. the night before Boonta, which is the 5th of April. But also, if you are looking to get Boonta tickets, we do have a thread on the Boonta event page. If people are going to sell their tickets, that they can choose from that list. Also, our hyperspace ticket that will get you in, it was first come, first serve between 7:30 and 8:30 p.m. will get you in just before Alderaan Idol, so you can have a nighttime event right before Celebration. We hope to see as much of you out there in London. I'm so impressed. There is a large United States contingent actually traveling over to the UK, including our good friend Mike Celestino. So Mike will be over at Boonta as well. I'm trying to get him to compete in Idol, but he said he wasn't going to this year. But Mike will be there, and I'm just very excited to see all my friends from around the world and provide content that is great, for those who are staying back in the United States.
So all this information can be found on the Boonta Eve 4 Celebration Eve Tradition Facebook page.
Absolutely. And you can find us. We are hovering around 46,000 members worldwide on our celebration page. So come become a member. We just joined the TikTok too. So
you kids,
you never know. You might see us up on there. Hopefully no flat Spencers.
All right. Now, Spencer, sign us out with a Boonta Eve outro.
Ladies and gentlemen, we look forward to seeing you the night before Celebration. The Celebration Eve tradition continues. We will see you at Boonta Eve 4, # don't you forget about me.
Don't you.
That wraps up episode 408 of
Skywalking Through Neverland.
Neverland. We want to thank Disney for inviting us to the Quantumania screening.
And we also want to thank our good friend Spencer Jawitz for coming on the show and telling us all about Boonta Eve and the great time the attendees are going to have. And they're going to do a live stream so we can watch from afar.
And to all of you Skywalkers who have contributed to the show, either by watching us live, listening to us later, going on our Instagram page, our YouTube, or anywhere else we have a presence. And if you want to hear me talking Star Trek, not Star Wars, head over to the Fandom Podcast Network. And I was able to talk all about the new season of Picard with our good friend Kevin Reitzel and his amazing co-hosts. So that was a fun time. Make sure to check it out. Fandom Podcast Network.
Now, are you interested in our book? It looks like Glenn Stein is interested in our book because maybe up top here he says that he bought the book while we were recording this.
Oh!
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, find it somewhere there.
Well, I think
so. Also, Glenn, so thank you very much. As we're recording, we really appreciate it.
Wow.
Now, for anyone else who wants autographed copies of Part 1 and Part 2, you can get them from skywalkingthroughneverland.com/book. And Sarah, we have an update on our next book with a new title.
Yes! What is our new title?
Well, last week we said to people we weren't sure about the title we have now, which is My Star Wars Fandom Journal.
Right.
And we put out a poll, and it looked like an overwhelming
It was 80-20.
Amount of you said we want the title to be Skywalking Through My Star Wars Fandom.
Yes.
It may be long, but it's branded, and I like it better.
And then I redid the cover to include that title instead, and it did look much more like our brand once we did that. So.
And what'd you do yesterday?
Oh, we submitted the proof copy. So that should be coming in the mail soon, and we'll check it out, make the modifications we need, and from there we'll let you know when it will be on sale. And Richard, you and I are going to be out selling all of our books at various events, right?
Yes. First up is WonderCon at the end of March. And then in April, we'll be at ANT-MAN, which is the Anaheim convention for children's books. And we'll have more dates and details as we go along. And then in May, we just signed up for the Ontario Comic-Con Revolution convention.
Yeah, so we are really excited. We're going to have a booth there, or table, right?
We bought one, so in the Artist Alley, so yes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is exciting.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, we would like to thank our sponsor, Small World Vacations, for their support. Are you thinking of a trip to the Disney parks? You can fill out a Get a Quote form at smallworldvacations.com today. And their vacation planning service is free of charge, so check it out and tell them that Skywalking Through Neverland sent you.
That is one way to support the Skywalking Network, and another way is to support us through our Skywalking Force, which is our Patreon. And the Skywalking Force has access to bonus content in the form of our Zoom discussions. Right now we're doing the Bad Batch, and in a couple of weeks we'll be doing Mandalorian Season 3. And this bonus content begins at only, get this, $5 a month. So head over there to skywalkingforce.com and have a look at all of those options. And a big thank you and another big Wookiee hug to all those who are already part of the Skywalking Force.
Now we are part of the Skywalking Network, where you can find other great shows like Talking Apes,
the Max EFX Podcast,
Neverland Clubhouse,
Totally Tell Me Everything,
Star Warsologies,
and the YouTube shows Collectopolis and
Today in Star Wars History. You can find us on social media. We are at Skywalking Pod for Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you head there in the next couple months, because Rich and I are going to be heading to the Disney parks doing various Star Wars nights and throwback nights and Disneyland After Dark nights and parade openings and all kinds of food festivals, all kinds of things. So make sure to follow us at Skywalking Pod. You can also join us in our Facebook group. Just search Facebook for Skywalking Through Neverland. And you can email us, share@skywalkingthrough-neverland.com.
Now, don't forget to stick around for bloopers and other fun bits that didn't make it into the show. And
always remember
to drink the ooze.
And never contact the quantum realm.
And stay away from the large floating head named Darren. And
Neverland on Alderaan.
Some imagination, huh?
To our Skywalkers and Tweetwalkers, thanks for listening. Skywalking Through Neverland is created and produced by Richard and Sarah Woloski. Original music by Rob Dellinger. Creative consultant Mark Augushowitz. Technical advisor Peter Heitman. Facebook administrators Donald Wicks, Joey Pittman, and Norma Heitman.
Skywalking Through Neverland is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Any sounds, music, and clips played during this podcast are the property of their copyright holders. All original content is property of Skywalking Through Neverland, all rights reserved. Sorry, had to be said.
This is what you can look forward to on episode 408 of Skywalking Through Neverland. It's like he's narrating his thing.
One more time.
Oh, fine. I should have just done it my way, all right?
What was that? That was like an AI version.
Okay.
What was that?
He was, you know how Ant-Man narrates his opening and his closing? He's reading his book.
If anyone walks in and says, "Now, what is this Breakfast Club? Is this a movie?" Get him out. Get him out.
Seriously, how could you grow up in the 80s and not watch, John Hughes movies like The Breakfast Club?
Oh, I mean, any kid nowadays. I once heard a kid say, "Oh, I recall that old movie, The Breakfast Club." Laid down in a fetal position and cried.
I once, when I was in college, I was at one of those old KV toy stores. Now that's a name drop. Looking in the toy section to see what came out, because that was like when Power of the Force and came out and all that jazz. And they re-released Voltron in the Lion form, and a kid turned to his father and said, "Look, a cheap imitation of the Power Rangers." I looked at my roommate, I was like, "Hold me back. Just hold me back right now."
I know he's only 5, but you know what? I think I can take him.
Exactly, yeah. So I might be a theater kid and no muscles whatsoever, but I could take this kid. How dare he insult my childhood? But
yeah, not everything is geared toward every single fan, because the fans just run the spectrum. So could you imagine getting something that appealed to every single fan? It would be unwatchable.
Something, the only thing I could think that would maybe appeal to some other fan, which is something we've heard for a while, is if they decide to end the Mandoverse and bring all the different stories like Ahsoka and Mandalorian and all that and bring it to one climatic ending on the screen. I think that there's something that, thanks to Grogu, I think that was kind of like the glue that brought people kind of back to Star Wars after some tension here and there. I think that, but I think that if something like, in the Filoniverse, really, I think that fans would be very happy with that.
After people were saying negative things about Andor, I just threw my hands up like, whatever. What you guys, I don't get it. But once again, everything is not for everyone. And if you were to whitewash everything, I don't think that would be a Star Wars that I would want to see, because it would be safe Star Wars, and we don't need any more safe Star Wars.
That's what we've been screaming for years. I think a lot of us old school fans. I mean, maybe I'm making a generality about this because I'm a fan of Last Jedi. I like the divergence from the formula personally, and that's just me as someone who likes storytelling. Andor was the adult Star Wars that we've been craving for a long time. It was adult themed, action packed, story driven. Was it a little bit long winded in the first 3 episodes? Yeah, but guess what? I liked the slow burn, because once we got towards the back third of that, it was like, oh my God, like this has been absolutely incredible. So there's something for everybody. There literally is something for everybody in Star Wars. All I care about is that you like Star Wars. I don't really care about, I didn't like this part, so they ruined this, or they didn't do that, or this person didn't do that. You know something? At the end of the day, we're getting content, and we should just be happy that we got anything, because it was very easy for us to not get anything at all.
Yeah, and if someone has an educated opinion, then I'm all ears. I want to hear it. I may not agree, but I definitely want to hear it.